Hey guys, what's going on? Layman123 and welcome to a very special video because throughout the past couple of months I've been working on a very special project, and that was creating 3 mocks for 3 movies. And these movies are directed by Christopher Nolan, and that is the Dark Knight trilogy. So we have Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and then The Dark Knight Rises. So I'm definitely very excited to do this mock showcase. So without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off with Batman Begins, this is a mock based on the training montage of Ra's al Ghul and Bruce Wayne. And this is the scene where Batman learns about the will to act and training on the ice, doing sword fighting and all that. So I tried to create this mock as accurate as I could, and I think I did a really nice job with the eyes and then the cliff, because you really don't get too many sort of shots of the cliff. But the minifigs were probably the hardest part for each of the mocks. But I think for Batman Begins, Ra's al Ghul and Bruce Wayne are definitely some really cool minifigs. So for Ra's al Ghul, he does have a goatee and beard. So I just decided to use Professor Lupin's face. But the only issue was that you can actually see the scars on this face. And then the hair piece definitely is really accurate, but I kind of wish it was maybe just a little more sort of smoother. And then the torso and legs I think work really nicely together because he's actually wearing some sort of samurai uniform. So I tried to make it as accurate as possible with the black, and I think it worked really nicely. And then the other minifig is Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have any sort of specific hair on his face, but the only hair he does have is his hair, and I think that works really nicely, and I think just that simple smile works. And then he does have a very similar design for the torso and legs with the sort of uniform he is wearing. Ra's al Ghul's is black, and then Bruce Wayne's is this really nice sort of light grey color, so I tried to match it as nicely as possible. So I really love the overall design for this mock because I did use a snot technique, which is studs not on top, to actually create the ice, and I really think that is effective. And then the snow here, I think that is really cool. For the cliff, it's just a very simple design. I just used a whole bunch of just slopes, bricks, just to give that really specific design for the cliff. And then I did add some snow to it just to sort of show that it is snow falling into the gaps of the cliff. So I think that is very effective. And then the back is a little messy because without the plate you could actually see through it. So you could actually see some of my LegoMan123 sign if I didn't actually include the plates, and then light could actually sort of come through. So I wanted to cover that up, and I think I did it pretty nicely. You can just see some sort of light here, over there. And then this is very loosely attached by 2 1x1 bricks with the stud sort of on the side. So that is the snot bricks, are very easily can come off, but I think it works really nicely because you just place it in there and push it down, and then once that's there you can't really tell how it actually did attach. And then I did include just some plain tiles here in white just to sort of show the snow, and then the bottom of it definitely does look really cool. But my favorite part would probably be the ice. I just really love the look of that. Next up, we have The Dark Knight, and this is possibly one of the greatest movies I have ever seen, and this is the second installment for the Dark Knight trilogy. At first, I was actually going to create that little scene at the end where Commissioner Gordon is talking to his son, telling him that Batman is a watchful protector, and then that part at the end when he says The Dark Knight, and Batman is running away while Commissioner Gordon is saying this because the police are chasing after Batman. But then I realized I couldn't create it because I had no parts to represent shipping containers, because in the sort of foreground and background you can actually see shipping containers while Batman's running and Commissioner Gordon is talking. But I realized I really can't do that because I had no pieces to make shipping containers. So then I decided to do that speech Batman does at the end of the moment where he takes the blame for Harvey Dent's death, and I thought that was such a awesome scene to do. I knew I had to create a mock on it because like this is the part where Commissioner Gordon comes down like the stairs and then thanks Batman for saving his son. And then I really love the overall design for this mock because in the background where like Batman and Commissioner Gordon are talking, there's like this sort of built up sort of area of like dirt and all that like rubble. So I tried to create just a very simple design for that, just using brown and like just dark brown because you really don't get too much of a look of like the Pacific color of it. So I just chose like the browns because it's a sort of dark color because this scene was at night time and I thought it worked really nice because you're really not sure on the exact color, but I thought the brown worked really nicely. And then in the background you can see like there's this hole there, so I just included that. And then there was this really interesting design for like a sort of tower build or like construction site build with a very similar pattern like this. You can only see a very small proportion of it, so I just had like this section here, and then that's really it. At the back there's really nothing special, but I thought this was such a perfect scene for the Dark Knight. I knew I had to build it, and the Batman minifig is actually the one from the Lego Dimensions, and I think this is such a perfect Batman for the Dark Knight trilogy. And then the Commissioner Gordon I think looks perfect because his torso is actually, oh what's his name? It's the bus driver from the Night Bus set, and he just has generic black legs. And then the hairpiece I thought worked perfectly for Commissioner Gordon, and I believe that is Cedric Diggory's hair from the Hunger and Horntail set from Harry Potter. And then the headpiece, which is Professor Flitwick's, the second version from the Advent calendar. I thought that headpiece worked so perfectly for Commissioner Gordon with like the beard and then like the glasses, so I knew I had to use that because I was really struggling to actually find a specific headpiece for Commissioner Gordon. But when I actually found that headpiece, I knew it was going to be perfect for not just Commissioner Gordon but also Gary Oldman. As they say, all good things have to come to an end, and that is exactly what The Dark Knight Rises did do for the Dark Knight trilogy. And I tried to create a really perfect scene to actually end off these three or these two mocks from Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. And this is Batman or Bruce Wayne escaping the pit and rising up again. In The Dark Knight Rises, we learn about a prison deep underground called the Pit, and this is probably one of the most dangerous prisons because there is no guards there, so a lot of fights could possibly happen. There's like nothing really there to protect you apart from like yourself and possibly like your friends. There's only one TV, well, there was until Bruce Wayne destroyed it, and then the only way to escape, because you can escape like whenever you want, like no one is telling you, oh, you can't escape. You can escape at your own risk, but it is very dangerous because a lot have died from trying to escape. Because the only way to escape is using a rope, which can possibly help you to actually sort of climb up by using the jagged rocks and then making a jump to like safety, and then you can just climb the rest very easily. But there's only been one person who has done it, and that was Talia al Ghul. And I thought this is such a perfect scene to do for this mock showcase because this does show Bruce Wayne rising up again, and I just love the overall look for this mock because I think it definitely does look really accurate with like the setting for, because it's in some sort of like desert, and I think the sand color plates and then also like that sort of dark sand work really nicely. The shaping for the cylinder look really nice. I tried to make it look as accurate as possible with like this sort of cylinder shape, and then I did include some like slopes and just like parts missing just to show like it's all worn out and like it's just been here for like a really long time. And then at the bottom it does look a little messy, but you really can't tell. And then I've just used a bunch of dark sand plates just to sort of show the landscaping of it, like it's all rough and all that. I've just used some like brick bit pieces, and then at the bottom I've actually just used some black tile pieces just to show like how dark it would be down there, and like just showing like you can't actually see much down there once you get up. And I think the minifig I used, or like the custom minifig I used for Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight Rises when he does escape, is perfect. I think the Dolby torso wig works really well, no, perfect for this version of Bruce Wayne, because like his torso is all like sort of worn out, it's sort of not destroyed, it's like dirty and all that, so I thought it worked really nicely. And then the headpiece is, oh, what minifig is it? I can't remember. I think it might be, oh no, it is what's his name? Sirius Black from Harry Potter Expecto Patronum set, and I thought it worked really nicely because Bruce Wayne does have a beard, but I think he only does have like a goatee, very similar to Ra's al Ghul in this previous mock, but I thought it worked really nicely for him, so I just had to use it. And then the hairpiece, I believe, is Oliver Woods from the Quidditch set from Harry Potter, so I think that is such a perfect minifig, and I think it works perfectly for Bruce Wayne. So, hope you guys did enjoy this mock showcase on Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and then The Dark Knight Rises, because I really did enjoy building each of these mocks and just revisiting the scene, because I think all of these scenes are perfect, and I try to make them represent like the title of the film, or just represent a sort of certain aspect of the film. So in Batman Begins, I tried to represent that as like Batman's training, so that's like the beginning of Batman. And then The Dark Knight Rises, I tried to create the scene, as I said, where like Batman's running away and Commissioner Gordon is telling his son about Batman. That would have been a perfect scene to recreate in Lego to actually represent The Dark Knight, but as I said, I couldn't use any pieces to create shipping containers. But then the scene where like Batman is taking the blame for Harvey Dent and just like telling Commissioner Gordon just everything, I thought it worked really nicely, because like the Dark Knight is supposed to be someone who's neither like a hero or a villain, and he does say that quote, "You either die a hero or you stick around long enough to see yourself become a villain." I believe it's like that, so I thought it worked perfectly for The Dark Knight. Then finally we have The Dark Knight Rises, and once I finished the film for the first time or the second time, and then I tried to decide a mock for each of the films, I knew straight away I would have to do Bruce Wayne rising up from the pit, because I thought it worked so perfectly with the title and just the whole idea of the film. Batman had risen up from the pit. He's like not a new person, he's just like he has different motives, and like Victory has sort of defeated him, but now he's sort of got that motive. Just so much worked perfectly for this mock, and I really hope you guys did enjoy this video. So I'm excited creating these mock because I really did enjoy doing that, and I would definitely love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below about each of these mocks. And if you do have a favourite scene in the Dark Knight trilogy, then I would definitely love to hear that. And as always guys, hope you guys did enjoy this video and it's in a series. Goodbye!